It's April 19th, 2018. And I think it's important to ask yourself, what's the most valuable use of your time? What's the most valuable use of your time? So, people make those evaluations all the time, I suppose. Or I don't suppose, but I know. But we also waste a lot of time, too. For example, I personally wasted many years as a person who was a leftist. I wasted too many years of being too fat. But before it was too late, I pulled the rabbit out of the hat and began a more meaningful life with a family. But in the world, there's a lot of cheaters. And the people who virtue signal about doing good, supposedly, they're often cheaters too. Well, what are some examples of that? Well, most everything that the cultural left advocates for is actually equivalent to or matches up with cheating. So, for example, Marxism essentially punishes the successful, the naturally successful, the people who want to work harder. It punishes those people. It penalizes them. So, excellence is penalized in a Marxist and socialist system. All right. The Democrat Party, which was the party of slavery during and before the Civil War, the American Civil War, they have tried to lay the entire blame for slavery on the right, when it's really solely at the feet of the Democrats, the left. Slavery. Universal slavery was ended by white, that's pink-skinned, Republicans. And also the Royal Navy helped. Mostly run by pinkskins, also known as whites. Well, I'm pretty sure my skin is pink, not white. A pinkish, yellowish hue. Yes? Anyway, 365,000 whites died during the American Civil War so that universal slavery could be ended. So the current Democrats, the Democrat Party, the Democrat meme set, is to blame for that. Now, children are born innocent, but sets of ideas can be to blame, and as those sets of ideas are continued, you can blame an ideology for something. Children are born innocent, but they can be taught, rather cult style, they can be indoctrinated into a meme set. And as they embrace that meme set, then they can begin to share some blame for the blames that are part of that meme set. But then they can, if they reject that meme set, then they can become, divorced from blame. So I'm no longer a Democrat. Okay? I'm no longer a leftist. Thus, my group blame association with slavery is dissolved completely. Also, the Democrats also, more recently, people like Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton raped women. Bill Clinton abused women sexually. Bill Clinton used his power in office to rape women and then threaten them after the fact. And his wife helped with that situation. His wife, Hillary Clinton. Now, the Democrats loved Bill Clinton. My father, a Democrat, was hoodwinked. My father was a member of the Democrat cult. A cult, by any other name, is still a cult. Dogma, doctrines, heresy trials, excommunications. These are a few of religion's favorite things. So, the left, the cultural left, is a de facto religion because it does the favorite activities of a religion. It's not interested in reason. It's not interested in true science. Okay, so the Clintons are cheaters. And also, they engaged in pay-to-play whoring. Hillary Clinton whored out her position at the Department of State. That's cheating, right? Former director of the FBI, James Comey. He's a liar and a cheater. He failed to allow Hillary Clinton to be prosecuted. He usurped the power of prosecution. It wasn't his job to decide not to prosecute. So he's part of the problem. He's part of the swamp. He's part of the corruption. He's a liar and a cheater and a slime ball. All right. He undermined the FBI, the credibility of FBI, and he undermined his own office and the office of the Secretary of State. So Democrats, they are all about projection. Whatever they accuse Republicans of, Democrats are doing in spades. Whether it's sexual abuse, whether it's pay-to-play whoring out your position in government, whether it's who cares for the poor and who doesn't, whether it's who's cheating and who's not, it's all projection. They do those things in spades. It took me a damn long time. I was a Democrat. I voted Democrat. I would never vote for a Republican. Never. Then I finally got red-pilled. I was pushed out of the left. First, because I wanted a normal family. And this leftist group I was part of, called Atheists of Utah, they got taken over by the Stonewall warrior gay faggy fags. And they don't value family. They don't value children. They don't value inherent reproduction. They don't value breeders. At a coffee chat by Atheists of Utah, this foul-mouthed lesbian referred to people who have children in a derogatory manner. She called them breeders. She said effing breeders. Effing stupid breeders or some such thing. So, yeah. Well, I guess the breeders who created that foul-mouthed lesbian were kind of stupid because they ended up with a dumb shit lesbian daughter who's not going to have children. She's cut herself off from the great Mandela, from 1.2 billion years of evolutionary history. I use a lot more rather cutting language than the past. Oh yes, as an 11-year-old child, I was so meek and mild, and ready to be sucked in by the abuses present in Mormonism. The ultra-right can be abusive too. A religion, a cult. The ultra-left is a religion, a de facto cult. They have their abuses also. Thus, I don't like any harsh religion. I don't mind Amish so much. I don't mind, some evangelical is okay even. The type that don't shame their children for masturbation. The type of evangelical who so don't teach their children to hate their own bodies. Like the Mormons do. I don't mind them so much. I wouldn't mind going to a Christian church if they would accept someone who's not a literal believer. You know, no, there's no God, but the God concept couches evolved traits, couches damn useful traits to help you avoid destructive dead-end behaviors. Thus, while the top level my top level explanation is going to differ from theirs, the end result is still the same. We still have the same goals. I'm generally pro-life, except in the cases of extreme birth defects, all right, or possibly rape or incest. I'm against abortion, except in those special cases. So I'm wary of Margaret Sanger's birth control pill. So functionally, how does that make me different? I'm functionally, essentially my advocacies are the same as a conservative Catholic, right? So why shouldn't I go to the Catholic Church? Well, the Catholic Church does have some problems with being a force that harbors sexual abusers because their priesthood has this forced celibacy going on, and forced celibacy drives people insane, and it's a magnet for abusers. A system of forced celibacy is a magnet for abusers, so that's why there's abusers prevalent in the Catholic priesthood. So they got their problems, right? So that's kind of the nub with the religions is you got some bad and you got some good, and you have to, if you take a naturalistic approach, you can say, okay, there's some universals in many religions that are there, not because the religions are literally true, but because evolved traits are couched within religious contexts. Okay? So I'm not a globalist. I don't like the Bushes. I don't like how they executed Iraq, although I partially agreed with Christopher Hitchens with regard to the need to go in there. Saddam Hussein essentially wanted to portray to the world that he had weapons of mass destruction, even though he really didn't. He was just using that as kind of a bargaining chip, or whatever. But Bush was basically a moron and executed Iraq foolishly, and maybe in hindsight we shouldn't have gone in. But I have sympathy for the Christopher Hitchens position on Iraq, especially bearing in mind the Kurds, who are basically, the Kurds are kind of an outlier when you think about Islam. The Kurds are, they don't oppress their women so much, and they're a little more liberal. And when I say liberal, I mean classic liberal. Not the current liberal. The current left are not liberal. The current lefts are not liberal. So I am a classic liberal in a lot of ways, but that doesn't mean that I'm a advocate for abusive permissiveness. I don't believe in abusive permissiveness, and thus libertarians are, people who consider themselves libertarians are often highly annoyed by my positions. They will, when they can, they'll boot me and threaten me just like any other cult would. The libertarians, libertarian in name only. But if liberty to jump off a cliff, people should have some right to comment on how jumping off a cliff is bad. And being abusively permissive is essentially jumping off a cliff. So that's where the whole my concern about the gender dysphoria being enabled by the left, and LGBTQ, AAIP, STFU, FO. The FO stands for Freakazoid Outlier. Those are the last two letters, FO, Freakazoid Outlier. That group is essentially enabled by the left and the libertarians put together. Team hippie, team denialist hippie. So, yes, the Mormon Church went too far, goes too far, even still. Yes, Islam goes much further. Islam is always far worse, as in all things. Islam is far worse. No, don't shame some people so much that they're driven to suicide. But you could say, okay, you're probably going to be happier if you live an inherently reproductive life. You're a 1.2 billion year evolved sexual animal, 1.2 billion years being the time that sexual animals have existed on this planet. And so therefore, you'd probably be happier living a more natural life, meaning an inherently reproductive life. If you shop at Whole Foods and you like organic food, then maybe you should do a bigger, more important thing and live an inherently reproductive life with children. All right. The cultural left has other problems. Neo-Marxist to postmodernism denies that babies are born with built-in drives, built-in personality, basic templates, built-in morals. The cultural left denies all that. They think that babies are born blank slates, which is an utter lie. So just red pilling, as per the Matrix. Red pilling. I red pilled out of Mormonism, and then I became a reactionary ultra-leftist. Then I red pilled out of that. Now I'm a kind of a center-right, pragmatic, conservative naturalist, Trump Republican. I'm not a George Bush Republican. I'm not a deep state Republican. I'm not a swamp Republican. I'm not a globalist Republican. I'm not a sellout Republican. I'm not a corporatist Republican. I'm essentially a populist Republican, a classic liberal Republican. But I'm, socially conservative, classic liberal Republican. How about that? And I'm an atheist too, but I have a great appreciation for the general Christian meme set. The Christian meme set allowed an enlightenment to happen, the Western Enlightenment. The Christian meme set allowed for a Reformation. The Christian meme set allowed for, basically a whole lot of human progress. Men on the moon. It was a downstream effect of the Christian meme set. Modern science, a downstream effect of the Christian meme set. The cell phone you use, a downstream effect of the Christian meme set. So yeah, we should thank the Christian meme set. Doesn't mean there's a literal Jesus. Doesn't mean that there's a literal God. Doesn't mean that there's a literal hell. But you can make heaven or hell here on earth. We make hay while the sun shines. Okay. But people like Joe Rogan is a moron. People like Sam Harris is a hack. We do have free will. We have more free will than a carrot. We do have the ability to choose. We have built-in drives. It's not all or nothing either. So Sam Harris is a moron and a hack, and he's abusively permissive. What about climate change? Climate change is a Ponzi scheme. Climate change hysteria. With regard to climate change changes all the time, but CO2 contribution, it's a similar situation to painting a ball red again, putting another coat of paint on. It's still red. It's not any more red. It's just a new coat of paint. So there's not a linear relationship between increases in CO2 and an increase in global temperature, mean temperature, average temperature. Also, current plants are starved for CO2. Thus, we actually have a fair amount less CO2 than existed in the past, epochs. And so, yeah, our Earth can handle it, okay? Current plants are starved for CO2. That means we currently have an abnormally low level of CO2, okay? Plus, there's also not a direct relationship between increases in CO2 and increase in temperature. So all these factors just show that these people who bang the climate hysteria drum, they want money, they want resources, It's a way of getting resources. It's a way of getting money. It's a way of cheating other people. You lie, you put out a lie to other people, and you get money. How is that any different from a religion? It's not. So, climate hysteria is a de facto cult, a de facto religion. You see what I mean? There's many. So this deal of having a meme set that you circle the wagons around your meme set, and then you defend it, and you punish people who detract from your meme set. Okay, so that doesn't mean all meme sets are equal. No. You have to evaluate all meme sets and see what helps humans thrive best. Well, I suggest not lying helps us thrive better. So is climate hysteria a lie or not a lie? It's a lie. Is neo-Marxist postmodernism a lie or not a lie? It's a lie. So some red pill, taking the red pill, essentially means not lying. Is there a link between race and IQ? Yes. To deny that would be a lie. Should we lie? Should we act based on lies or not lies? What should we do? I realize Ashkenazi Jews have a higher average IQ than my racial group. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm not an Ashkenazi Jew. East Asians, Ashkenazi Jews have the highest. East Asians are next down. So I married an East Asian. That means I married up. Okay. Just admit the truth. Admit the truth. Doesn't mean I want to oppress other people. I think lying is about the IQ links to race is a way of oppressing people. Okay? Lies oppress people. And lies are a way of people to get resources from other people, to cheat other people out of resources. So you see where I'm coming from? Yeah, I like cutting edge art as much as the next person. I like rocking the boat. I like upsetting the anally retentive assholes of the world. I love it. I love upsetting the anal retentive assholes of the world. Okay? But the most anally retentive assholes are on the left these days, not the right. Not the right. Trump is a very useful boat rocker, but he's not anally retentive. You have to admit that. If he were anally retentive, he wouldn't be putting out all the highly useful tweets he puts out. Right? It's the left, the people who have scrunched faces when Trump won. Those are the anally retentive people. Okay? So, anyway, the Weird Al Yankovic song, "Everything You Know Is Wrong," is very apt and appropriate. Everything you know may well be wrong. You might be a member of a de facto cult. Believe in a bunch of lies that are just as big a lies as, or even bigger lies than what your average Scientology member believes in. Okay? So I want people to be happy, but I think we'll be the most happy when we don't lie to each other and to ourselves. So essentially my course after leaving Mormonism, now I'm finally on a corrected course where I'm rejecting lies again and again and again, rejecting more lies. Okay? I reject lies. I like the truth. So that's why I'm a very strong Trump Republican. Because I reject the lies of the left. And I think Trump is a highly useful boat rocker. All right? And I reject the lies of the right too, the ultra-right, the Mormon right, But that's another cult, so that just goes to show what I'm talking about, okay? All right, that's it.